Welcome back to another episode on Cardhead's YouTube. Today I am welcoming Jeff Lipson, Chief Strategy Officer from the MetaFans NFT project. How you doing, Jeff?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for your time here.
Of course.
I gave you a little brief breakdown before we hopped on, what we do and the idea of just trying to give a well-rounded view on the sports collectible area and not just specifically sports cards. To that, we've been starting to track now NBA Top Shot, NFL All Day here soon, the tops on, is it candy or wax? I can't remember.
Yeah.
NFT projects now like yours that are sports focused and sports related and giving sports fans another way to interact with sports. So why don't you give just a nice brief breakdown of yourself and the project and how you came about to be a part of it.
Yeah. So I'm personally I'm a huge sports fan. Hockey is my main thing, but I'm a South Florida guy, so I'm all things South Florida sports. I grew up playing hockey, soccer, tennis, all that good stuff. I actually wasn't a huge sports card collector at any point in my life, but definitely had some of those heavy years around Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and some of those types of collectibles that now are starting to drive up in a lot of value, and thankfully have still held on to some of those over the last year or so. I've started sorting through those boxes and making sure that the ones that are in good condition and that I think might be worth something, and doing all the research behind that, getting them into some protective casings and packaging up and shipping them out to PSA so I can hold on to those. But personally, also from a business background, I come from 10 years in the management consulting and marketing strategy space. So building products, digital products with Fortune 500 companies, and then also helping run media strategy for Fortune 500s at VaynerMedia in New York. And I just naturally found myself very attracted to the NFT space and generally the crypto and Web3 space out of my interest from the technology perspective and how it's going to affect business and everyday life and what adoption is going to look like. And I had an opportunity to come jump in with MetaFans and come help run this company, across strategy and marketing and what we're building from a product perspective. And so I dove right in. And one of the things that you immediately recognize about the NFT space is how much collectors are very attracted to the space, whether they know about it immediately or once they learn about the space, they just become kind of addicted to it because of how you can buy and sell these digital assets. How the marketplace works is just so similar to how trading cards work in the physical world. And, just like Cardhead right now is very sports focused, but, might be branching out now into like the Pokemon world or other things like that. That makes the NFT world even more, appealing to those physical card holders. I mean, obviously the NBA Top Shots and Tops and what NFL is coming out with, and what I'm sure all the other professional sports leagues are going to be coming out with, was like an immediate bridge. But now you're seeing it with art collections, you're seeing it with sports focused projects and collections, although there's actually not that many out there. MetaFans is one of few. And I would say that, so MetaFans, we're a sports focused NFT company and collection. We are very focused on providing in real life value, and then also providing the growth and development of this digital community of people that are interested in the Web3 world and also big sports junkies, and giving them experiences together, both digitally and in real life, and throwing all these different kinds of events. We had a Super Bowl party at Wrigley Field with 200 people. We have a race house suite at the F1 race down here in Miami next month. We're going to be doing some big stuff in New York for NFT NYC. So our NFTs are essentially our membership passes into our clubhouse, right? Into our community people. However, we've seen this type of collector's mindset already start to seep into our community. Some of it is baked into how we run our project. So we have 4 base set of characters that make up our different NFTs. So, and an NFT is it's basically just a digital asset. Most of the time it's an image, and because of how it is bought and sold through the blockchain, there's a direct proof of ownership. When you buy an NFT from someone else, you own the NFT that's coming. You cannot, right? People talk about the whole right click. I'm just going to save your JPEG and sell it. Well, you can't do that because no one will buy it from you unless you're trying to scam them, because you can't claim that your NFT comes from the original source, right? And that's how you're able to determine that proof of ownership. I can show you that the NFTs that I own from MetaFans come from the original source that launched MetaFans.
Right.
So we have our 4 characters, right? One is called the diehard, another is the average Joe, another is the cheerleader, and another is the jock.
Right.
We basically say that if you own one of each of the 4 characters, you own the full set. So it's almost like a collecting of different types of cards and characters via our digital assets, our NFTs. And by doing that, we have a baked in, benefit and value for doing that. You have more chances and better upgrades to the events that we throw and all that different kind of stuff.
Right. Now, to cut you off real quick, just for context for card-minded people.
Yes.
The 4 tiers again were diehard,
average Joe,
average Joe, cheerleader, and
jock.
And all 4 can be male and female.
So the cheerleader is a female character, and the other 3 are male characters.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're all. There's no difference in like the rarity of those 4.
There is no difference in the rarity. No.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What's real is family.
No difference in the rarity. There's elements within each one of those characters, right? Like what their hair looks like, what shirt they're wearing, glasses, all this different type of stuff that then provides different rarity to each one of them. But as a base character, there's no difference in the rarity.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, there's automatically this element of collection that seeps into it. And so the other interesting part though is we've started to see people start to collect in other ways within our collection that we have not, that's kind of not part of how we run things day to day. So for example, there's a bunch of different hats with different city names on it, right? A Miami hat, a Detroit hat, a Minnesota hat, a Kansas City hat. We're seeing people just intrinsically want to collect all of the different characters with the different hats. We are seeing people try and collect all the different basketball jerseys or all the different football jerseys. It's just happening naturally because of that collector's instinct and how you're just able to see how easy that bridge and that tie-in is from desire to collect physical cards to then these digital cards.
Yeah, this is exactly, like behind the scenes at Card Hedge, we've been talking about this now for about a year. Because I'm personally very much into Web3 and crypto and NFTs. But behind the scenes, we've been talking about how the sports card industry is ripe for NFTs, and they don't even know it yet because they don't understand it. But I try to explain it in the way of, everyone chases like, the rare card, like the out of 15 or, the 1 of 1, the rookie patch autograph. So what I try to explain is I get that, but now imagine having that, but by having that, you also get XYZ.
Message. That's what I was about to say. It's like a collector's dream, but on steroids, in my opinion, because, you know, imagine if you were able to start buying cards, or like you went to the store and bought a pack of basketball cards from Topps, and you open it, you know, all you're doing is you're like, no one knows who you are. You go to the store, you buy the pack, you open it with your hands, you pull the cards out, and then what, right? Like you just, but now you can basically like open that pack, and by opening it, you're also entering this whole world and this whole community and this whole network that's already there set up for you to get value from. If it's just to continue to make more friends with like-minded people, if it's the ability to be able to go to events, if it's the ability to, you know, have this marketplace that's already very kind of established and easier to use, that just kind of democratizes the whole buying and selling experience, where, you know, maybe in the past with card collectors, only the most savvy were able to participate in a meaningful way, and now anyone can really participate in a meaningful way. It's really cool to see. And I think from a card collection perspective, I think that is sort of the easiest way for humans to be able to buy into the NFT concept, because other things are harder, right? Like you talk about like a sculpture or a big, you know, 8 foot by 8 foot art piece, and people have a hard time registering in their head how something that large, that physical, can be replicated digitally and have as much, if not more value than the physical item. But I think with cards, it's a lot easier to understand, and it's a lot easier to kind of wrap your head around, because the items are smaller, and, you know, they're usually stored away anyways, or put somewhere where they kind of need protection. And now you can take them and you can display them digitally, just a little card, right, like that, and you're not giving up too much of that look and feel. Now, and the other cool thing is, and there are probably projects out there that are doing it, and even, you know, like retail brands for, you know, non-card related stuff have started doing this, which is you buy the NFT and then you can get a physical, you know, item to be sent to you that you can have, but ultimately the real value is in the NFT, right? But at least you have something tangible that you can hold on to. And so that's a way to also help bridge the gap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of these marketplaces now that are doing that, where Logan Paul just came out with the one the other day. They have like the fractionalization, but there are some also that will be doing, you know, like say this phone, I buy the phone, but the phone stays in the vault.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
I get this NFT that represents my purchase of this item.
Yep.
And
And imagine
that,
implications of that too, like at
yeah,
a grand scale. Like we're talking about that could happen with a lot of things, right? Not even just cards. I mean,
right,
like going back to the art piece and other things that you don't necessarily need to have a utility for. Like, yeah, I won't be able to do that with my dining room table, because I actually need my table to hold things
right,
physically in person. But for anything that's, you know, display related, that has that intrinsic value, think about how much less, you know, emissions are going to be used, because you're not trucking things back and forth, and, you know, you're not using these big trucks, and now you have you know, these bunkers underground that are just holding on to these valuable assets, and they're being traded digitally, and therefore you know who owns it.
right.
It's actually, this is a conversation I was having with our founder Jordan. We were literally dreaming about this concept, and I think the world is going in that direction, because
Oh yeah,
at the end of the day, who wants to hoard all of these physical items? Like, these things take up a lot of space. They are you know, excuse my French, a pain in the ass to buy and sell and ship and, you know, store and do all these things. But if we can start centralizing, you know, vaults and then just trading ownership via the blockchain,
yeah,
that's so now we're talking about like use cases of NFT technology,
right,
where it's just taking the physical and using the technology as a means of ownership. And if people start becoming comfortable with the concept of digital displays versus physical, physical displays, then we're talking about a massive use case that I feel very confident in the next 10 years is going to start happening.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it is happening. Like behind the scenes in these industries, it's definitely happening. I think it's a lot more now of like an education and them just understanding like how this technology works.
Yeah.
But all right, before we go like way down a rabbit hole, let's go back to MetaFans. So I saw that there's you guys have some athletes and some personalities tied in and partnered with the project. How did those come about, and what kind of like benefits are they bringing to the project, and or are there any kind of like benefits tied in with them and the holders?
Yeah, so all of those folks that are tied in with the project that kind of launched with the project. So, Anthony Rizzo, Dan Marino, Jason Taylor, Raheem Mostert, and I'm not going to try to list all of them because I know that I'm already, forgetting a few, Josh Hammond, Joy Taylor, the list goes on. So those folks are all sort of connected within our network. We're a pretty well-connected group within the sports and entertainment space. And they all believed in the vision of what MetaFans is trying to accomplish and felt comfortable and wanted to put their names behind the brand. Some are involved more regularly. Anthony, for example, him and I just did an IG live together, where, obviously MetaFans were able to come listen into the conversation, ask questions. He's also been in the Discord interacting with people. And so being able to have that connection with athletes is amazing. At our Wrigley Field party, Josh Hammond, who's a wide receiver in the NFL, he was out at the party. And so just, our community, just being able to have that access and interaction with athletes is an awesome thing by basically, owning one of our NFTs, or you call them sports cards. And then others like, with Jason, we've had MetaFans be able to participate in his charity poker tournaments that he does once a month. Dan has met a number of MetaFans with, on game days with the suite that we have at the Hard Rock Stadium for the Dolphins. So there's different levels, right? But we're just proud of the people who want to stand behind us and give us their stamp of credibility with what we're trying to accomplish. And, we're only continuing to develop more relationships with more athletes, especially ones that are starting to get more and more interested in the NFT space. And so you can definitely look out for more to come on that front. But it's in general, I think it's really interesting to see how the NFT and Web3 world has sort of started to connect athletes and fans together more, but in a very healthy way, where, I've said this in other interviews and podcasts and stuff like that, where I think we live in a world where that relationship between athlete and fan is a bit toxic most of the time, where, fans expect athletes to act like robots. They don't really treat them like humans in how they interact with them and what they ask of them and just all of that. And I think that, I don't know what it is exactly. It's hard to even put your finger on it, but what about this Web3 world is sort of changing this, but you're starting to see the interaction become a lot more healthy, a lot more natural. And I think athletes are enjoying it, and I think fans are enjoying it. So to be fostering a community and a company that is allowing some of those healthy relationships to continue to develop. Wow, this just goes to show how much I'm I'm always in the weeds here in the space. I hear my Discord popping off. Let me just
Don't worry about it.
hold on. Or it's my Slack. Sorry. Let me quit that. It's funny. It's actually hilarious. In another interview that I did with my buddy Paul Guarino, he's a sports agent. He also, I should have thought about this before. He also was like, "Hey, do you mind turning your Discord off? I can hear it pinging during the interview, like we are now." And I was like, "There's honestly no better way to show that you're constantly in the thick of it in this world day to day."
Yes, absolutely.
Anywho, so it's cool to just be part of a organization and an industry in general that's helping bring those people together more.
Yeah, which goes right into how do you see, like what is the team's vision as far as, like continuing to build it out and work on making that relationship to the point you were making, more healthy and more inviting? Is it really to like build out this sports community membership and kind of replicate what you have at the Miami Stadium, at like other stadiums, and try to make it a kind of like a spread out thing?
Yeah, a bit. That's definitely part of it. We want to make sure that people have the ability to go, have some of these sport experiences, across the US. But I think more so what we're focused on is hosting meaningful events for our holders that drive towards those core values of ours, which is community building, right? Like if you think about when you're growing up, either as a kid or as a parent of kids, sports is so much used as a way of building community, right? Like your own little village of community through the sports that you end up playing as an adult in pickup leagues, or in the friends you make around that, or your kids going in playing in youth leagues across different sports and the relationships you make there. And there's this, vision that we have of wanting to create that kind of community, but in a digital way with where the world is going. And so we want to have events that allow that community to continue to develop those relationships in real life, where it might start digitally, but we provide a lot of those in real life experiences and events for those people to continue to connect. So whether it's around education events in the Web3 space, or if it's just purely an entertainment related event, or if it's a networking focused event, or if it's a, meet athletes type of event, we want to really lean into those events so that our community can connect with one another in real life. And then the glue that sort of keeps it all together is how we're building that community and the experiences that they're having digitally, right? And so we're going to be building out what we're calling the Clubhouse, which is going to be this digital platform for MetaFans to be able to continue to engage with one another and continue the community building aspect on a digital platform where they're playing games, and there's live streams, and there's signing up for events, and there's chatting, and there's trading, and there's all this other stuff that's happening. And then, every month or every quarter, we're also bringing all those people together at these events that we're hosting to help continue to build that community and empower that community and give back. So, and sprinkled in with all of that as well is going to be obviously all these premium experiences at different sporting events, and also, between what we're throwing ourselves and other stuff that we're sprinkling in, continuing to build that connection between fan and athlete. So that's sort of the focus that we have going forward, and how we plan on continuing to grow, and sort of the vision for MetaFans.
Having trouble managing your valuable collection and finding price transparency in the sports card market? Me too. That's why I use CardHedge. CardHedge is a brilliant price analysis and collection management tool. Track all your grades across PSA, CSG, HGA, SGC, BGS, and as well as your raw cards. CardHedge pulls their research from sites like eBay, StarStock, MySlabs, and Golden Auctions. You want an accurate picture of the sports card market? Yeah, me too. With over tens of thousands of cards in their system, CardHedge is the definitive sports card price guide. Quickly search by card, player, or set. Sort by price or percentage change. It has a lot of awesome advanced features. So what are you waiting for? Join today for only $14.99.
Nice. And that the Clubhouse that you mentioned, that's like an application that you guys are building yourselves
Correct.
specifically for the community?
Correct.
Very cool. That's cool, because you see a lot of the projects just don't do anything.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
I mean, that's a whole nother thing. And
Yeah.
listen, it's when there's, groundbreaking technology, you're always going to see a lot of different people enter the fray, and there's going to be a lot of noise, but there's also going to be a lot of really important winners that come out of it. And we're in this time period right now where there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of people jumping in. Some have long-term vision, some don't, some are in it for the short-term grab.
Right.
And you kind of, it's the whole thing that they talk about in Web3. You got to DYOR, you got to do your own research.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure there's an element of that in card trading too, right? Like knowing who you're buying from, making sure that, that things
There's
are
been fake
legitimate.
cards being sold for years.
Yeah. Also, by the way, when we talk about applications and reasons that, blockchain NFT technology gets used, fraud basically gets thrown right out the window, right? Like you have a very easy, clear way of knowing if you're buying the real thing or not.
Right.
You don't have to worry that you're going on a platform and it's like, is this guy's thing real? Is it not? Do they have a certificate? Is it PSA certified? Is it this? Is it that? No, I mean, you can just see via the blockchain, is it real or is it not real? You can't fake it on the blockchain. So that's like a whole other element of reasons why we're going to start moving in that direction. And that's obviously great for sports cards. It's great for a lot of things. It's great for tickets, right? Think about like what people are buying on StubHub and the fraud that goes on there. I mean, there's so many use cases and ways that this technology can benefit us by integrating it into some of our everyday lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there really isn't it. It just hasn't been realized yet. I think that's another reason why the card market is ripe for that switchover, because when you look at it and you see the daily sales like we do, and you see the amount of money in, let's call it secondary buying on a day-to-day basis, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, throughout the year. And Topps and Panini and Upper Deck don't see a single cent of any of that.
Right.
And if I was running one of those companies and I found out that we could produce these things and benefit on the secondary
in perpetuity, I
would immediately start to look into that.
And I won't have to come in here and hassle you every night. You know what I mean? There's a new sheriff in town.
And I think that once this clicks for them, and Fanatics has taken over a lot of them, the next couple of years here, Fanatics actually has the rights to the baseball and basketball and football. So maybe they will, but I think it's only natural, especially for companies that are in it to make profit, to see that and switch over.
Yeah, it's literally it's free money that's been unrealized for years and
decades.
I mean, imagine if Topps is making 5 to 10% on every single sale that's ever happened.
Exactly. I mean, there's cards that sell yearly for over $1 million.
Yeah. Or what about the player on the card, by the way, right? Like their name, image, and likeness. Right. They're able as personal brands and people, like just like, they get a portion of their jersey sales. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't they get a portion of their card sales? And you can bake that into the code where, you have a 1-of-1 Michael Jordan rookie card digitally. Well, maybe Topps takes 7.5%, but Michael gets 2.5%.
Show me the money. That's it, brother, but you got to yell that shit. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
Of that, $5 million sale. I'm just, I'm throwing shit out there. But it's crazy to think about the the additional distribution of funds and revenues, and having a more probably fair playing field for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have, as a project, do you guys have plans to do like an additional drop?
Yeah, so we've got stuff cooking up in the kitchen. Our current collection has not sold out. But we always are we're thinking every day about, how do we want to continue to move forward? And we're so happy with the community that we've developed so far. And it's so strong that we haven't been concerned about selling out, not selling out. And also the bottom line is, I think the people that are concerned about, how quickly they're selling out,
right,
it usually comes down to one of two things. Either they don't have the money to be able to keep going, and they were banking on or counting on the money from the sellout to be able to continue running the business, or they were never in it for the long run to begin with. Right. So for us, money's not a problem, right? So we weren't relying on the sales to be able to operate. And then secondly, we have such a longer term vision. Like I'm thinking 5-10 years down the road, when I think most other people in the space are thinking 6 months down the road.
If that
what's happening right now is, obviously we think about it and how do we pivot and all that, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm so much more focused on what's to come and where we're going. And we're committed to that. So future collections, to answer your question, definitely in the cards, no pun intended. Yeah, well, you'll see, I'm sure, probably over the course of the next 3 months or so, what else we have up our sleeve, and you can look out for updates, obviously across all of our socials, on Discord, our website, all that good stuff.
Awesome. So the best place to follow along would be probably what? Discord, Twitter,
those
website?
Are the two big ones. Yep. Obviously, we've got an Instagram presence as well, but for NFTs in general, and I don't know, you can tell me if the card space is like this, but Twitter is sort of the home of how everyone, chats publicly from an NFT perspective. And then our Discord is, as of today, where our community lives. So Discord is the best place, because that's, we've got announcements going there daily. We have all of our community that's always chatting with one another. All of the updates about our cash prize games that are free to enter for our MetaFans are all being posted there. We have our golf pick'em game that's going on by, just by owning a MetaFan, you're able to play and participate in a cash prize game around the Masters. And then Twitter is a good place to follow, for a more passive, kind of engagement with the brand. But, Discord's definitely number one. And if you want to learn more about what MetaFans is and what we do, our community is incredible, and they'll welcome you right in.
Absolutely. Who's your pick to win the Masters?
So we had a golf pick'em, and the way that it works is we have it across all 4 majors and the players. So 5 total tournaments, and you pick 5 players per tournament, but you can only pick the same player twice across all 5 of the tournaments. So I actually came personally in second place out of 100 or so submissions, I think, at the players 3-4 weeks ago. For the Masters, the 5 guys that I took, I believe, were Scotty Scheffler, who's #1 in the world right now and on an absolute heater.
Yeah.
I want to say I had Victor Hovland, who's also just been playing incredible golf, Justin Thomas, DJ, and I want to say Shane Lowry. I think those were my 5 guys.
Solid.
Yeah, there was a few that I might have had Will Zalatoris in there actually somewhere. Maybe I took him instead of DJ.
I'd love to see him win. He's a little scrapper.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
so,
I'd love to see him win.
I know. So, I was trying to make some specific picks to the Masters. In the Masters, length off the tee, typically not as important. It's really about your approach shots and then how crafty you can be in and around the greens.
Yep.
So finding those, really good ball strikers and some of those really good guys that have, best strokes gained, around the green and putting are typically the hot bets. And then you always like to look at who's in good form,
Right.
you know, over the last, you know, month to 2 months. And then you also typically like to take a look at, you know, anyone who's got experience around the Masters, previous winners, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I still haven't, you know, including the players and this tournament, I still haven't used John Rahm or Colin Morikawa one time yet, either of them. So I'm holding off on them to
You
get.
can use Colin for the US.
I think I'm going to use Colin and probably Rahm for the U.S. Open. I'm also giving him a little bit more time to get
Warm
into
up.
form.
Yeah.
So
like
I feel good about that. Yeah, man, I'm a huge golf guy. So if you can't tell, so
Got it. You mentioned hockey too. Who's your team?
I'm a Florida Panthers diehard.
Yeah, I figured that when you said you were a Florida.
Yeah,
guy.
I've been born and raised in South Florida. I've been playing hockey since I was 6 years old, even down here competitively. And I've been a diehard, like, you know, biggest fan that I've ever met of, even out of all of the people that I've ever known for the Panthers. And it's been pretty amazing to finally after, you know, what, 25 years of, you know, engaged fandom with the Panthers, to finally get rewarded with a really great team has been amazing.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Yeah, I'm from Mass, so it's Bruin Nation up here, baby.
Yep.
Yeah,
There's a small chance that we see each other in the first round, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't follow hockey. Hockey's probably, well, no, soccer would be, but after soccer would be hockey that I don't follow all that much, not nearly as much as I do football, basketball, and baseball is underneath that. But I am always the first to say, when you want to watch exciting sports, playoff hockey is the absolute most exciting thing. I went to
Electric.
Oh my gosh. I went to a Flyers game in Philadelphia and they were playing the Bruins. And the person I went with has season tickets on the glass.
Oh, it's nuts.
And it was literally the most exciting sports event I've witnessed. And I already had a lot of respect for them, the way that they're able to move on ice.
Yeah.
But when you actually see them, like, you know,
No,
15 feet in front of you, and they're doing this at full on speed and the size that they are.
They're moving at like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's two very different experiences. I want to say it's the only sport, maybe basketball a little bit, but even that, where it's like, because you don't just need to, in basketball, the reason I'm saying is you don't need to just sit courtside to get that feel for their size and speed. You could be sitting 8th row or 10th row and still really feel it. Yeah. In hockey, you're either sitting like in the first 3 rows where it's literally a completely different experience, or you sit up a little bit. So like my favorite seats in general are typically like lower bowl in like rows 20 to 25, because I just love getting that view of the ice.
Right.
But if I'm not there, then I'm trying to get into like, you know, one of those first 2 to 3 rows, because it's wild to watch the speed and the physicality when you're that close and you realize how big these guys are and how fast they're moving. It's really so much fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience that will stick with me and that I'll be able to share with people, because it was an experience. Like, it wasn't just like watching a game. It was an experience.
Yeah, you got to get back to another.
I know. But hey, thank you for your time.
Of course.
I'm gonna make sure to put, you know, the website, Discord. You know, if anyone's interested, please go hop in the Discord. All the links will be put down in the description.
Yep, we're metafans.com, metafans.com, and our Twitter handle is at MetaFans NFT. And in both of those areas, you'll be able to find our Discord and be able to jump in there as well.
Is your Instagram the same also, MetaFans NFT?
Yep.
All right, cool. I'll make sure we link all of those down in the description.
Love it.
You know, I know our audience is not NFT, you know, focused, but I think that it's a natural bridge over, especially the sports related ones. So if anybody is interested, please go check it out, ask questions. I know if you hop in the Discord, I'm sure that they'll be willing to answer any questions that anyone has.
Yeah. And on a parting note, what I will say too is we have super like over indexed on first time NFT buyers with our project. So I would say the majority of our owners are probably first time NFT buyers, and especially our most engaged owners. And I would say that that group will help you understand, what it is you're buying, how to buy it. I actually plan on starting up a couple of seminars around like NFT 101 or how to buy an NFT, how to set up a wallet, do all that stuff. Cause I'm cognizant, just because I'm in the position that I'm in now does not mean that very, very recently in the grand scheme of my, professional career was in the same boat as probably the vast majority of people that were listening to this, which is like, what is this lingo all about? What is it? What is a digital wallet? How do I fund it? How do I buy crypto? What is it? Those are all things that you just start to learn via trial and error. And I want to be a resource, and I want MetaFans to be a resource for those people to be able to engage with this industry and world with a community that provides that kind of safe and comfortable space for them to do it. So we will definitely help however you need it.
Awesome. Thank you again, Jeff.
Of course.
Thank you again, everybody else, for checking out this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for more to come. See you later.